Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. And yes, that hiccup was my fault because I forgot to kick the go live and we went through that whole 30-second countdown here and for nothing. But anyway, it happens sometimes. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, so good evening and welcome. We're all here tonight. Good to have Brenda. She's here with us tonight. She was here last week, and she'll stay as long as she can. So if she just if she waves her hand and disappears, y'all understand that she's got to go bye-bye. But we're all praying for you, Brenda. And I would ask that each and every one of you that do pray, there's a God out there, and I know He hears us, and I know He can heal. And I'm praying for Brenda and for her healing. So anybody out there that knows how to pray and wants to pray, I would say, please pray for my friend Brenda.
Thank you.
So anyway,
amen, brother. Amen, Brother Russ.
Huh?
I said, amen, Brother Russ.
Yeah, we have Jeff Walsma on here. Here's a unique thing. Did you know the time span that you were on here last, Jeff?
Yeah, we were just kind of yapping away, and
No. You know the time span?
Yeah.
The length.
You
know, like a ruler. You know.
Okay, so Jeff don't know what actually understand what I'm talking about. He was on. This is S08 E16. So 8 years, episode 16. He was on last year on S07 E16. So it's been exactly 1 year an episode since he's been on here.
Yes,
I thought it was a fluke. When I wrote it down, I went like, "There's no way that this can be accurate." And I went and looked it back through all the videos, and sure enough, it's almost been 1 year to the date. Now I understand the dates might not be accurate, but my point is it's S07 E16 and S08 E16. So
close enough.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. Let me talk about my wonderful sponsors real quick before we get too involved, and they are Devobal Technologies for web design, development, and hosting. Visit devobal.com. FastCap, innovative products for the professional woodworker. Go to fastcap.com. Rockler, 60 years in woodworking. Create with confidence. Visit rockler.com. Bearwood Supply Company, your best choice for hard-to-find woodworking supplies. Go to bearwood.com. Cleansmore, the sanding specialist. Woodworkingshop.com. And Seiko, the scroll saw specialist. Go to Seiko.com. And if you don't mind, go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I really would appreciate it. And also, if you would hit that little bell up in the corner, it will notify you anytime that I post a video or we go live stream. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And I still have not got around to getting James Parker's thumbs up a backer. I am working on it. I swear. I've been real busy with the new construction company thing that I am involved in. So I will get to it. So there's that. Before we get to anything else, we want to have to talk about real quick. I've been playing. I have had some time this week. The first time in almost at least 2 weeks since I've had a time to do anything, and I've been playing around on my laser. This is taking a photograph and being able to produce it into.
What did you scan it or what? What did you?
I found the photograph on the internet. And I brought it into my computer and I did some work on it to get it to this point where it would actually burn into an image. That's one of them. Now, this image I actually bought, and I found out I bought it on Etsy, and it was in a different name. Here, let me get this.
Yeah,
for
make
y'all.
yourself
Yeah,
big
make yourself big screen.
so we can
Yeah.
see it.
It is actually Laney Shaughnessy has several different how do you want to say it? Places where he sells some of his stuff. This is actually a Laney Shaughnessy. It can be cut also with a CNC, but I did it with a laser. Look how that turned out.
Oh, you did, because that's deep for a laser.
Yeah,
It
yes,
turned out
it is.
nice.
Yeah.
Nicely etched.
Wow.
So yeah,
Nice.
that impressed me when I did that. And this one is impressing me. I have to get the settings right a little bit more. But this is impressing me also. But it's not as good as that one. And the
Is
other
that-
one
is
that I
that
did
solid?
was this one.
Is that solid or wood, or is that like?
Yes, that's a solid piece. This is a solid piece of Baltic birch plywood.
Well, plywood. Yeah, if it's plywood, doesn't it go down into the plies?
Yes, no, it doesn't go deep enough to go even through the first
Okay,
ply.
Okay, gotcha.
That's plywood?
That's Baltic birch plywood. Here, look, you can see the.
Yeah,
Wow.
sure is. Yeah, nice.
Hey, Aussie asked for you to hold the first one back up.
Yeah,
which
because
one?
how did you get that depth? Is that a solid piece of pine, or how did it get so deep? The other one, I think.
No, it's a piece of Baltic birch plywood.
No,
The other one, the one that
the other
Lanny
one.
did.
The first
the other
one.
one.
And
The one,
your
the one,
settings are very, very shallow. I'm running it at like 20% power at like 350, 400 speed.
the other one, right?
Okay, the first one. What about the other one? That's the real deep.
The hand up cross.
Yes.
Yeah, the
That,
one.
how did that get so deep?
Yeah,
Turn that
Yeah,
sideways
look at the
now.
side of that.
That okay,
That's
so now
deep.
That is plywood
That's
too.
Baltic birch plywood.
Yeah.
Well, how many levels did that go through?
See,
Only, not even the first one.
Really?
see, it's
Oh my
it's the
God, that looks
design.
beautiful
It's an
to that.
illusion. It's an
Yeah.
illusion. It looks like it's
an
real deep
illusion.
because there's
And what you
shadows.
have to do, is find the files that are illusions. See, now
Awesome.
this is an illusion file.
Because of the
That's
shadows.
This was supposed to
It's
be an
shading.
illusion file. This was supposed to be an illusion file, which is not as good.
Yeah.
Right. It's the
Yeah, but
shadows
that
makes
other
it
one-
look deep. That one
Yeah.
on your right.
But this is an illusion
Oh,
file.
Yes.
That one looks great. That
I like
was
that.
That one's awesome.
Yeah.
Because of the burning shadows, it looks like it's like a 1/4 inch deep, and it's not.
No, it's a eighth
That's-
inch
Yes.
or
That's
a
why I was
1/4 inch. It's not even going through the first layer.
what is
Yeah.
that, like 5/8?
This is 1/4 inch Baltic
That's
birch
1/4
plywood.
inch?
Yeah, that
1/4
looks
inch.
like 1/4 inch. But
Yeah.
yeah,
See, now you convert that. You can get that real good like that. I'll bet you when a laser likes an SVG file. That's
Yes.
what lasers like. And then you can do that because of the shading. You got the pulse width modulation on them shadows, them 4 shadows, and it makes it look like it's deep.
Yeah, this one I'm proud of.
Well,
So anyway,
congrats.
that's a couple of things that I'm playing around with, and I got the time this week. My construction my sons and my construction company is going full bore. It is occupying a whole heck of a lot of my time. I will tell you that. I am sitting back hoping that all this time invested in the near future, which I'm talking about within the next 3 to 5 years, that it will pay off in mucho dinero. So we'll see. You never know. It's an adventure. If nothing else, I'm having a great time. I'm spending a lot of time on the phone and communicating with my sons. And now Cameron knows what he's talking about when he's talking about building. He took up that trait from me and went on to his own. He worked for a framing company. He worked for a construction company called Loyola. He is now working for D.R. Horton, which is one of the biggest the third largest builder in the United States.
Yeah, they're going nuts.
So yeah, so he's doing very well for himself. So he's took off, and Corey is lacking is because he went into the Marines and wanted to become a police officer, which he has. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying he's having to catch up with us on the building part of it. He can arrest everybody for doing the wrong thing on building. We're building. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not building that properly, so I'm going to arrest you. So we're over here building. So that was just a
Send
joke.
him to collect the bills.
Yeah, that was just
Send
a
him to
joke.
collect the
So,
payment.
yeah, he'll go arrest the people that can't.
He does the
can't make the
financing.
payment. But anyway, we're having it's starting off. Gradually, we're moving into it. It's doing really well right now. We have some hiccups. They're always going to be there. You can't start a new company without having hiccups. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I have to keep continually telling them, look, this is construction. It's not like any other business you've ever run. I've been in this in my entire life. Okay. You're going to have days that are like really up, and then you're going to have days that are really down. And then you're going to have days, it's like a roller coaster ride. But overall, the high ends equal out and you make a lot of money. So that's what we're looking for. Anyway,
Well, when you do,
before I go any
remember
further, let's talk. Let's say, Jim, where can we find you?
Jim Bashir's Driveway Workshop. Actually, we had a question from Brooks earlier here. He wanted to know what kind of laser you had. But
I have an OM Tech 100 watt. I'm going to say 2 foot by 3 foot. It's not quite those dimensions, but that's close enough.
There you go. Let's see.
And it's CO2, but it's CO2, by the way. It's CO2. Yeah, CO2. It's like it's. I know it's 24. It's actually a little bit wider than 24, but it's not quite 36. But it's 24 by 36 is a overall round dimension, and it's a CO2 100 watt. It does very well. I'm pleased with it. I love it. It's from day one. It came out of the box working great. I didn't have to do nothing except turn it on and tell it to cut, and it started doing it.
How many watts is it?
Huh?
How many
100
watts is it?
Yeah. So it's been really great. Paul
Corliss, Paul's Messy Workshop. I got a new video up on YouTube. You can also find me on Instagram. And Russ, that question you asked me, the answer is 63.
63. Okay. 63. All right, refresh my memory.
The toy hauler.
Oh, really? 63,000?
Yeah, you were guessing 30.
Jeez.
Wow. That's twice what I paid for my house.
But it's big and it's got everything.
I moved here in 1978, 79. I paid $80,000 for this place I live in. So that'd be like buying another house.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I want to spend that much. I mean, it wouldn't be that bad because I don't owe nothing other than, well, I put my ATV on credit because my financial person said it would be good for you to buy something that is not on a credit card to help your credit score. Actually, not buying something will hurt you, like a car. You need to buy something because actually your credit cards will hurt your credit score. So I bought an ATV, and actually my credit score jumped 23 points by buying an ATV. I'm like, really? Who knows this credit score crap? How can you predict that? But anyway, so I guess if I bought a toy hauler, it would actually help my credit score.
Jeez.
That's a good way to rationalize it. Yes.
He'd probably even haul it down there for you.
I bet he would. All right, Dixon.
Hi, I'm Dixon Hoffman. You find me at Hoffman Signs and Decals, 3dprinting.com. Good to be
Brenda.
here.
Brenda G, Brenda G's Designs. Got a YouTube channel and Facebook page, and haven't been doing a whole lot with either one of them lately, but hopefully I'm going to be able to feel well enough and get people to leave my schedule alone long enough that I can get a few videos knocked out, and you'll be able to enjoy some of my entertainment here pretty soon.
Yes, and everybody pray for Brenda. Everybody pray for Brenda that she will have a miraculous recovery, and we'll have her for years and years and years to come. So, Donald.
Yeah, no. If those of you that don't believe and don't want to pray, there ain't nothing wrong with sending good vibes. I'm just saying.
Yes.
I'm Donald Matthews. My YouTube channel is Donald Vlogifies Wood Shop. I've got a website called redneckknowhow.com, and my Instagram and Twitter and all that's on my YouTube channel there.
Al, Mr. Al Forte.
Great to see Brenda here and everybody else too. You too, Paul. Even you. Al Forte, Odessa Woodworking and Maker Shop, Kilroy 79763. There it is, right there, right there. Just look me up, and you'll find me.
And just to give you warning, Al,
Oh my God.
stay straight tonight because I'm going to keep this handy.
Oh my God.
Okay, just to give you warning, I got my phaser ready. I can, zap you out anytime I get ready.
Transporter room.
Jeff, how you been doing?
I've been busy, actually. I'm getting ready to ramp up and get some shows on the road. I've been trying to. I started. I was doing a lot more traveling this year than normal. When I got back, I had a farmer's market to do, and then I realized I didn't have enough stuff, and so I started going at it, and I've been doing stuff in here and having. Oh, you guys are.
Let Chris in, Russ.
Yeah, Chris is in the down there, Russ.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I kept on seeing you poking down, but I didn't know.
I wasn't trying to dry off my armpits after putting deodorant on them.
My bad.
The problem is when you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When your ninth person comes in, he's on a lower level, so therefore I don't get to see him.
It's always the best for last. I get that.
At a lower
All
level.
right. So anyway, back to Jeff, and we'll talk about you at the end, Chris, because you always have to sign us out anyway.
I've always got a good story too. So,
Hey,
So,
okay. You see me. Obviously, you watch me enough there, Russ, and I appreciate you guys having me on. I've been following you guys as much as I can on Saturdays when I'm not doing something else. So you always have a great show, and I want to thank you for that. So, and I don't know if Gerald Vance is out there, but he said he was going to try and make it. But we'll, see if he does or not. He was committed to something today, and don't know if he's going to get back in time for that. But well, here's a story. But I got to talk about this story. You were talking about fire stuff last week. I happen to be an old fireman myself, but it was with a wildland fire. I worked for the Forest Service for a number of years. And what it comes down to is I had no idea what woodworking was until I got into that job outside of woodworking, in high school. And so the guy that I worked with during the summertime, he was an electrician in the winter, and he was my captain. And he taught me a little bit about electrical, and then we were doing work on campgrounds. And then we kind of stepped it up. In the wintertime, I ended up working for a guy making $1 million houses. But and I was writing this on my Facebook page, trying to explain how I got to where I'm at today. It was in between fire seasons because I was a seasonal firefighter. I would go and work from about April till about November, December, and get laid off for a couple of months, and enough time to build a house. Well, it just so happened my wife worked for a major corporation and got transferred from out west to here, and that's where I've been ever since. And when I did that, I ended up working for a couple of contractors, and I worked for the city of Naperville for a little bit, and then I got my feet wet in doing contracting myself, and I've been contracting ever since. And I'm kind of I don't want to say I'm retired. I'm semi-retired because I'm doing all this stuff now, and I enjoy woodworking. But the thing that I like the most is I learned from college a lot about tree species, because when I was going to college and working at the Forest Service, I originally started out to be I was going to be like a tree specialist, and it does when I do woodworking, I take what species of tree and what the grain looks like, that's what to me makes me do my bowls the way I do my bowls. Grain is crucial, whether you're making furniture or doing turning. I always want to see something that's going to show that piece of wood, that's going to show that make it pop, and that's kind of when it kind of leads me down to where I'm doing now. And I like showing people how I come about making my bowls, hoping that maybe somebody. I love to recruit young kids. Really, I mean, I love that. I've been talked to every time I do a farmers market. I have people come up to me and start talking about it, and some of them are really interested. And actually, I've had a few come on my Facebook page, ask me questions, and I always tell them to look for you guys too on a Saturday night and what you do, because all you guys, when somebody's trying to learn woodworking, all you guys have some kind of background in doing something, and it's really kind of nice to see that out there and get people interested again. Me, I get crazy with when I get down here. If I'm not making sawdust, I'm not doing anything.
There you go. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so Jeff, I'd really like to, the reason I brought you on tonight, I'd really like to get into you talking about some of your turning and how you're doing it. And like you said, so let's go into the turning mode and what kind of lathe are you using?
Okay, well, I don't know if you guys can see it, but.
Russ, give him full screen.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, here.
That'll allow us to see it a little better.
Well,
there you go.
Actually, okay, it says Craftsman on it, right? I don't know if you can see that, but that is actually a recon lathe. Now, the story behind this is I used to do demos for the old Craftsman Tool Company, and this is where I got it from.
Right.
I did this in Brooklyn, New York. 2 weeks later, I ended up having that sent to my store. It's a mini lathe. My wife got me the parts to extend it. I got the base to it, and I've been extending ever since. Now, you know, I tell this to people all the time, that this thing is cheap compared to what all the rest of my tools. I mean, you look at these things, there's $100 just for one, right? You know.
Well, so what are you using there, tool-wise, Jeff? What are you using there? What was that you picked up with that little funny-looking finger on it? What does that do?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have to show you that. Okay. What it does, I have to turn this around. Okay, first off, I got to show you this. Now, Russ probably saw this. I don't know if you've seen it lately. This is my problem child. Now, I bought this piece of wood, and I know a lot of guys use chucks, and I was starting out to do that with this, but what happened, it ended up being that much shorter because the end, it split. So this is going against, you're going against the grain this way. So what happened is there was a weak spot here. Anyway, long story short, I ended up doing this. It was the problem child because I had to do it twice. And the only reason I have this on here like this now for spindle to spindle is because I'm running out of room, and pretty soon it's just going to be a plate. But I mean, or it's going to be firewood, you know.
You keep cutting it. Yeah, it's going to be firewood.
You got a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, here
Now, it is the
I'm doing
question
the-
for you. Hold on. Question for you, real quick. Is the lathe that you're using a multiple speed or like a 2-speed or?
Well, this lathe, okay, it's not variable speed like all the rest of them because it's a 2015 lathe, but it's belt. And what you do is you adjust this down here. There's a little lever here. I just unlock it and pull it up and move the belt back and forth, whatever I want. Right now, I've got it, I think, on 1,000 RPM. Now, I don't know what you guys turn yours at. I bounce between 1,000 and 1,600 usually. Now, if I'm doing some like a big piece, but if I'm doing a piece like this that has bark on it, I usually slow it down a little bit because the thing bounces around too much.
Hey, Jeff.
To get it to a shape, and then I'll speed it up once I get the rough out of it. And I'm not worried about it being oddball shape.
Aussie Man is wondering what's your favorite wood to work with. I think that's kind of the question. You know, what wood do you like best for your bowl turning?
Well, you know, it's funny because I like them all. It's like a love-hate relationship. It just depends on what kind of a mood I'm in when I'm doing it. I actually don't hate any wood. The only thing that I can't stand though is when you go to a place to buy wood, and it's expensive, and you get it. And this is the reason I say it is this thing. It was a 5-foot piece, and it was about I don't know 5 inches.
Yeah.
And it cost me an arm and a leg, and I'd say half of it was firewood. You know. Yeah, it actually, I like working with them all. What I like the most is to make the thing pop, to make color, to make the grain. You know, like spalted maple is good. And I have a bunch of that laying around here somewhere.
Spalted maple.
Well, here's the grain. See, this is what I was talking about, grain. I always like to show this to people. And you guys know this, okay? End grains are a pain in the butt to deal with when sanding. And even with this, you know, when you're doing this, everybody says, don't go with the pith and go against the pith. Well, I've done it both ways, and that's where I go back to the wood, depending on what kind of wood it is. I usually don't have a problem with it. Now, Osage, I love Osage because it's
Osage.
Oh, I love that stuff. It's great, but it's hard on your tools, and the reason I like it is because of this. You see that?
Wow, that looks great.
I love the grain. Yeah.
Look at that. Wow.
See, I'm gonna turn this into a nice bowl, but I kind of like use it for the description, the way the grains are, you know, and that's where I teach people about that when they go put one together. Now, I put a bunch together. I've been working on like 5 different things at the same time.
Don't we all?
Okay.
Well, but we all finish our
I'm the guy that's going to experiment on which way to turn. Now, the average guy does this stuff, right? You know what I'm talking about? This is you do segmenting this way. All right. So that's one way of doing it. And here's another way of doing it. All right. Now, which way do you think I'm going to turn this? This way or this way?
Usually you turn it that way, but you're going to do it the other way.
No, that's the way I turn it. That's exactly right, because end grains are at the top and the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I thought this was a trick question.
Okay.
I did
third
too.
way,
We all just failed.
Yeah.
third way is this way.
He was trying to make it a trick question. That's for damn sure.
He did.
See, okay, so this way. Okay, which way I'm going to do this one?
Turn it. Yes, like that. No, the other way. Up and down. That way.
Well, I'm
Yes.
going to do it this way.
Really? All right.
Depends on the green. Yeah, he can see the green better.
All right, let's Jeff, let's take just a couple of seconds here real quick, and I need to go through the chat and talk about the people who are out there in the chat.
Yeah.
I have missed them tonight. Aussie Man's out there.
Hey, Aussie man.
Guys who are in the help me call out people. Just start calling out people. I don't care. Just
I remember
interrupt me.
Jimbo and MChav and come on, guys. I'm not the
Brooks
only
Martin,
one.
Chris
Jimbo.
Nealon's out there.
Appalachian Heritage Wood Shop.
Russ Meadows.
That's Gerald.
Brooks
Russ.
Martin.
Yep, Gerald.
Ollie
there.
wants a woodcrafter. Jerry Brown.
M.
Dixon
Shaw,
Hoffman.
who's
I have
Donna's
no clue.
Wooden
Dixon Hoffman.
Art.
Who's this guy? Did he has he ever been on our show before?
I snuck
that?
in.
That Dixon guy?
Yeah, the Dixon Hoffman guy.
No, we don't know who he is.
Chris Nealon, James Parker, Carl
Jimbo.
Gentry,
Who's M. Shav?
MChav. MChav is
Chav.
the
Yeah,
most
he's
excellent-
from Twitter, a Twitter and I think an Owl friend, isn't he, Al?
yeah, and the most excellent drawer in the world. And this is
Yeah, Brooks
Twitter.
Martin. James Parker. I know we've said Aussie Man, but Bill
Well,
High.
always say Aussie, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain people out here who Michelle Marcoux. Has anybody seen Michelle Marcoux?
No,
She's
Not
usually here.
tonight.
not tonight.
Generations Woodcraft
Oh.
or Custom Creation.
That's
Time out. Generations Custom Creations. Still playing lots of stuff, master still. It's been put, but a damper in my videos on epoxy and other CNC stuff. Okay, well, you know, sometimes you run into problems and you just have to put a damper on some of the things you're doing.
Yep.
His name
Chris
is
Nealon
Rob-
says, I want ice crates.
What?
Ice crates.
He said, I want ice crates. Did I not read that right?
Ice crates.
Ice crates. CRATES.
Well, you spelled it right. Can't see it.
Is Jeff going to fire that thing up?
Dan Ingy said, gotta love relatives. I'm going to, but in the family, we had a preacher, an undertaker, a lawyer, and a child of police. You can get married, buried, divorced, and get out of jail all in the family. Damn.
What?
Dan, come on, really?
Rick St. Louis is there.
Rick St. Louis. Okay, so M. Chav, I see him again. Donna Presley's out there. I seen her. I ain't got to her yet, but she said something about Generations Custom Creations. He asked a good question. Gents, what streaming platform do you use that allows so many people in? I am using
StreamYard.
StreamYard.
Maybe
Thank
I'm
you.
using the actual
Thank you, Paul. StreamYard. StreamYard allows 10 people in the chat at one time or
But you're
in the
using the
panel at one
subscription
time. So
version, right?
StreamYard. It's very economical. It's only like $20 a month to use it, but you get up to 10 people in here. And I really like it because that little thing that I put the countdown in the beginning, it allows it. If you're using some other platforms, they don't allow that stuff. So I really like StreamYard.
And they let you put your watermark also, that little
Yeah, they let you put my watermark, and they put up with Al and Paul in my shows. So that says a heck of a lot right there. So
We're the reason people tune in. It's not because of you.
I am glad I got here from my fans.
Tell us what you really think.
He's speechless. He's speechless.
I'm not speechless. I was just going to say, I don't think you're too wrong about that. Be honest with you.
I am. It's a rarity. I ain't into top bad too.
I don't think you're too wrong about that. In all sincerity, I think they do. I think that harassment that I get out of the panel causes as much viewership as anything else. So,
and Russ, it keeps you humble.
Let's
yes,
talk.
it keeps me
Let's
humble.
talk shop with Russ.
Humble hell, I'd throw you all out if it wasn't for the viewers. If I could sit here and get this many viewers by myself, I'd do it. But I know if I did it, I'd lose all of my viewers. So I'll just keep y'all.
That's all I've been doing. I mean, I me myself and well, I got to show you this real quick, okay?
Hey Jeff. Why don't you show us that real quick, Jeff?
Oh, you see
Russ
him?
is gonna make you big. There you go.
Is that your alter ego?
See, yeah. See that's my guard dog. It's Dusty.
Why did the phrase "I'm Batman" just kind of pop up in my mind?
I gotta put something like that in my shop. I like that.
All right, let's go back to
I've
turning.
got a mannequin.
Let's go
Okay,
back.
I
to
have a real
turning.
question. Say,
Okay.
Jeff, me and you live pretty close together, actually. Where did you get that Osage orange at?
I scanned.
I'm looking for
actually,
places.
There's a guy. There's a 1800s museum, history museum. I do volunteer work for. It's a Garfield Farm Museum, and I do a lot of the brush cut back and things. We got a couple. I think probably 1,000 acres of prairie
Wow.
between a couple of farms, and I go through there and I cut the stuff up, and it's been sitting there for a while, but because there's a lot of farm rows, I'm right where the farms start. I'm right at the end of all the suburbia in Chicago.
Yeah, you're like in Naperville, right? Are you on the
No,
side
I'm
of
in
Naperville?
Geneva.
Oh, you're in Geneva. Okay,
Yeah.
then we're not that close. I'm up in the corner of Indiana.
Well, I mean, it's all relative. Trust me,
Yeah.
it's all relative, But
Oh, I thought
on
you were
that
over by
bo-
Naperville.
All right, on that bowl that you're holding right there. So that was 3 pieces of wood, and you.
yeah, it's malted maple, okay, and it's got walnut in there, and
Oh, I love
this is the
walnut.
kind of look that I go for to try and get what the grain of the thing looks like. Now, it depends. I mean, I've got some oak here that's old grain oak from probably 150 years ago. It's out of an old Victorian they tore down, and it's got that warmy look to it. It's really beautiful. And it's kind of, I mean, it's like this. Okay, this is now this is my stupid idea. One day I was looking around and I got all these excess pieces of wood here, and I'm going, this is a piece of river birch, right? I'm going, what can I make out of this? And I was just screwing around. I just decided to go down there. What I did is I taped the bark off with masking tape, a painter's tape. I went around backwards so the sticky stuff was up. And the reason I did that is so I won't get this all full of, masking sticky stuff. And then I'd have to worry about sanding it. That's not what I wanted. What I did is I went around it the second time to tighten it up. But because this had some really good color to it, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's got some orange and some black and stuff. I love this stuff. I've got, last show I did, I sold 4 of these things.
Wow.
Right off the bat, I sold them. And I was just monkeying around with them. But this is what I look for. And, maybe I don't know. I kind of like it. I'm the oddball guy. So out of 9 of you guys or 10 of you guys, I'm the oddball guy in here because I'm the one that's going to say, guys will come to me and say, you can't do that. And I say, watch me, because that's basically the best bowl. I kid you not, the best bowl I ever turned in my life was the one my wife's got upstairs. It's made out of pallet wood. And the pallet wood, because it was old pallets, had that rough sawn oak on it, and it had rough sawn poplar. And when I segmented them together, it turned out the best. It wasn't very big, but it was, to me, that was the best because it showed the grain of the wood. That's kind of what I'm looking at. And there's so many different ways of doing this. I'm telling myself what I showed you here. the idea for me is to get like 4 different ways of turning bowls. You know, I showed you how I was doing those other 3, right? The idea is to show them I can do this way, and this way. And I tell people just go do it and see what happens. I mean,
So which
this
is your
before I
favorite?
get to the pallet wood. A lot of guys are doing pallet challenges now. I like doing pallet challenges just because I've gotten so used. I've got a ton of pallet wood in here, and I make all kinds of stuff with it. And
So
All right,
of
Jeff.
all those 3 bowls, which is your favorite one? Which one do you like the best?
well, the one I like the best, I sold. I mean, I belong to 2 woodworking clubs, and they always tease me about it because they're more into the raw wood. You know, they're not into segmenting. I'm the only one actually in the group out of like I don't know 50 of us that do in the Turner's Club that do segmenting. Everybody else is doing raw wood. You know, so
Right.
All right,
it was
Jeff.
difficult.
Do you prefer conventional tools or carbide tools?
Carbide.
Is that
You
what you
like
have the most?
using carbide?
Well, you were talking about this earlier. All right, there's
Yeah.
3 different tools. I get them out of here. Okay, these are the 3 that I use the most.
So that little curly one, that little curly finger one, that one's a carbide.
See, these are the 3 I use the most.
Really?
All right,
Those are all 3
Really?
carbide.
yeah, and the reason I like using these the most, for one, it's got a longer reach. The other one is you can change the heads off.
Yes.
Change the heads off in that,
Right.
right? Okay.
Right.
Where do you get your little
It
heads?
makes things a lot easier. Now it's a love-hate relationship because those sometimes when I'm doing small stuff, I can't use them because they're so big and you know you kind of have to work around them. Right now I've got 9 chisels, the 9 that I use the most, right? But like these, I'll use this, right? The only problem with this is the steel ones like this is you have to constantly sharpen them.
Oh, those Harbor Freight ones?
Yeah, I don't know where this came from, but I've got like I think there's 8 of these things, and it was $100 just for the 8. See,
Yeah, it's probably Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight's cheaper.
That was my first set, man. They were, yeah, you had to constantly sharpen
Yeah,
them.
Those are premium tools to me.
Well, and here's the other thing: is the chuck. It's not a Nova, it's a Barracuda 2. And honestly, guys, don't get a Barracuda 2. This is the second one I've had, and
Well,
it doesn't.
There goes our sponsorship with Barracuda.
They're what happens is it doesn't stay here. I've got one this thing.
What do you mean?
This
Whoa!
thing
You
blew off.
go off on you say it doesn't stay here, but that does. We don't understand what you're saying when you say it doesn't stay here. What do you mean?
Okay, the tenon that I had on this, all right, it was exactly the same depth as this is.
Uh-huh.
It was perfect. It was at a little bit of an angle, so it would grab. But I kept having this thing bounce off it. It did 3 times. And it actually kind of split part of this. I had to re-glue it again because it was damaged because it wouldn't hold it. Now,
It doesn't lock it down. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. The other night, I had my Turner's Club meeting on Wednesday, and I went down there and I was talking to them, and everybody was looking at it. It seems like I took the tenon off yesterday because I'm trying to finish this up for that show next weekend, and I don't know. I've never had such trouble with this thing. I've had these teeth. I'll tell you what, if you go too far, you lose them. They come out. Trying to put them back on is another story. It's a pain in the butt. I went through this already once. Not with this one, with the other one. And the guys at the tech, they're no help either. I don't like knocking tools because I'm a big tool guy, but this thing, I mean, for the amount of money you spend on them, and everybody's telling me get a Nova, so.
Now, it won't get as tight as a Nova will, or what's making it let go?
Well, honestly, I've been doing this since 2015. All right. So I don't claim to be an expert in it. I just do,
Right.
And there's a lot of people out there like you guys that are always saying, do it this way or do that way. Gerald brought this up a while ago. Gerald Advance from Appalachian Heritage Woodshop told me this thing is too high, and he's right, because when I'm holding my chisels, I'm actually holding this thing needs to be down about 2 inches.
Yeah, you know what? When you stepped back there the first time, I thought the same thing. The machine's kind of high.
Yeah, the machine's too high. So, but here's my point. When you add some of the things about the lay's too high, and I want to tell you, Barracuda is a very, very prominent. I have one of those Barracuda chucks, and I've never had it let go on a bowl. So I can say I don't say that you're doing something wrong, but there has to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because the Barracuda chuck, they sell hundreds and thousands of them all the time, and I have a lot of friends of them that use them. So,
have you ever had to deal with the text? There's one guy that I talk to all the time. He's been there forever, right? He claims to be the expert of this thing. But
when you say that he claims to be the expert, Jeff, a lot of people claim to be expert. I can sit here and tell you I'm the expert of 3D modeling and 3D this and 3D. That doesn't mean crap.
I know. Well, when I had the issue with the old one, before I turned the old one into the other, I took it over to Rockler, and Rockler explained it. In fact, I had the same issue with this one, and the guys explained how I can set it back, myself. And so I numbered them. They helped me number each one of those teeth, so that would go back.
They are numbered, yes, and even the Novas are numbered to the position. If you don't put the number back in the right place, it's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
And,
Really?
but
yes.
I don't know.
Well,
It might have just been the piece of wood. That it depends on what I'm doing. When you're hollowing stuff out like this, you're down there pretty deep, right? This is probably about, 8 inches deep, 10 inches deep.
Easy.
Well, when I get down to the center of this thing, and I'm using that long carbide tip thing, I'm barely touching it. I mean, and that's why I love them. I mean, I'm barely touching it. I'm so used to it. I let the tool work and not me.
Are you using I'm trying to think of the name of it. Your stand. Do you have a tapered stand that will reach down into the bowl to give you more length?
Yeah, I've got another deal that goes my fence that I put in. It goes in. I could turn it down in there. That one I can't because of the angle of that's how thick it is. So
but that's not that piece that you're holding in your hand. That's not the one you want to be using. They make one that is tapered really, really thin that will go down in there, and it's actually hooked on the end to get you down in there deeper. There you go. That's what you have to use. Yes.
Yeah. So
my neighbor goes, I got this from his place, an electrician, right? So I go, I need a piece. He comes over and said, "What are you doing with that?" I bend it on the.
Yeah, that's what you have to use to get down in there to turn the bowls down on the inside.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can make your own, huh? That's pretty neat.
Yeah, you could make your own. They do design them. My Nova lathe has each individual ones that you want to put. I think it's called your banjo. You can put on there and they have different depths and different hooks and stuff and styles to get down in there to make the bowls. So,
well, yeah, we'll see now. Like when I'm doing this, all right, this is tight right now, but usually that's about as close. Well, what I do is, since I'm using these.
Just one moment. I'd like to say good night to James Parker. He said he's good night. He has to go talk to his granddaughter. Thank you for being out there, James
Russell,
Parker.
Brenda had a bail too.
Yeah.
I saw Brenda had to bail. So good night, Brenda. I appreciate you that. And hi to Donna's One Heart. Go ahead.
See, now when I'm doing this, all right, I've got this at an angle. The problem with this is because it's so tight and they can only go out so far. What I do is Hang on, I'll show you.
The banjo holds the tool rest is what.
Yeah, that's.
Heritage wood shops.
I've turned, but I've forgotten all the terminology. But the banjo is what sits on the actual lathe and holds the tool rest in position. And that's the reason I said banjo. Some of the things started coming back to me. You know, I haven't turned in over a year. I need to turn again.
That's the only reason it's off, because I'm getting ready. I'm all in doing sanding it. I'm just taking the middle off. But I was going to stick something up there to do something, but
that's all right. You say you use carbide. Why don't you use conventional turning tools? Because you have to sharpen them so much?
No, I use them both. I actually, that's what I'm saying. I'm using these three. All right. I use these three the most. All right. Yeah. Now, I'll take it back when I go to doing rough wood, like with bark on it, like that piece I showed you earlier. All right. I use what's in here. I use my the gougers. I can't think of. Yeah, my gougers are all in that. There's 5 other pieces of gougers in there. I use this to smooth stuff out sometimes. But then when I was doing Santa Clauses and snowmen and stuff, I use, because they're small. On the small stuff, I use these 3.
Right.
Yeah, those are pin turning tools.
Yeah. So now, and there's some other tools I need to get too, but I utilize what I can. Here's the thing. I know everybody's got a different story about how to do it. Now, I've watched other people do it, and they're using different tools than what I'm using. And not all the tools are different. I mean, some of them are, like when they're gouging. I'm just comfortable with those. And the only reason I don't use a lot of the gougers is because they leave big ruts in it. And I know when you're roughing things out, that's not a big deal. You're going to sand it. But when you're getting into soft wood, it doesn't take much to take a lot of it out real quick with those. So I kind of stay away from them. And usually,
so your regular tools that you have, what do you use to sharpen them? How do you sharpen them?
Well, I have a guy sharpen my tools.
You don't sharpen them yourself? You have somebody else sharpen them?
Yeah, he doesn't charge me very much. I mean, I just let him do it because I've got backups for backups. If I'm not using those all steel ones, I'll use the carbide tip ones. In fact, I'm going to get some more carbide tip ones. And I swear by those because I could change the tips out. And I personally think they're more easier for me to use.
I'm with you, Jeff.
And they're actually longer. So it's actually a benefit because when you start getting in deep and you're using the steel ones, you can't go in very far.
Right.
So that's where the flat ones like this comes in. I mean, if I'm going to do something like this, that piece of wood, I usually take the bark off and then turn it. But you see, it's small, so I can use those steel ones versus the carbide ones, or it just doesn't matter to me.
I'm with you. I'd start with the high-speed steel and clean the bark off and get it nice and round.
Yeah.
And then I'd switch over to the carbide to get the shape I want.
Yeah.
And get inside.
Yeah. You do it that way.
I do a combination. When I say that, I do a combination. I ain't turned in over a year, but when I was doing it, I would do a combination of both conventional turning tools and like bowl gouges and things like that to start some of the jobs. Matter of fact, I had one that my good friend, trying to think of his name. He lives in Orlando. He's been on here many times with me. Daryl Jones. He showed me this Mac Daddy. I'm talking about this thing is like 2 inches or 2.5 inches wide and I don't remember, it was a scraper or whatever to be able to round things off. And
Oh, yeah, I
I've been
think I've
doing
seen
it
that.
with such narrow tools. And when he showed me that, I was like, holy mackerel.
I think
It's
I've seen a
such
video with that tool. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. It was like, wow, this is all the difference in the world. So you kind of like have to size your tools to the size of the job, if that makes sense.
Right.
If
Yeah.
you're going to turn pins, you're going to use real small tools.
Yeah,
If
Brooks.
you're going to turn a bowl on a 18-inch in diameter or something, you have to have the tools to be able to do that. And so,
Oh,
but Daryl taught me a lot about turning in the period of time that me and him were together. And I miss Daryl.
Gotta get him back on.
Yeah, well, I will have him back on. He's been doing a lot of stuff. So what are you
Yeah.
showing us there?
Well, those are the other 5 on there that I rarely use that much of.
Yeah, those are the I think those are, hold on just a second. Let me do you a solo layout.
Sorby?
You got
Oh no, they're
the
Benjamin's
few-
best.
yeah.
We actually had it.
I use this
question
when I'm
on that,
doing
yeah.
some really big stuff. This and this one. This one, I haven't. I hate this thing. I have not mastered that yet. Every time I use it, it's.
I can't figure it out. Pick it up. Let's see the end of it.
Let's
when you're
see
saying
the
that
working
you-
end. Yeah.
That's a bowl gouge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But dude, I'm telling you, Russ, I got to watch somebody do this because that one there I've never used that much.
You know, the
I'll go
video,
through them on YouTube.
there are very, very many videos, including Carl Jacobson, that show videos on how to use tools like that, bowl
There's-
gouges and stuff.
There's a technique to the bowl gouge that you got to learn to ride the edge before you start in the cut. But
Yep.
once you learn how to do,
Exactly. If you don't, you are asking for disaster.
once
Oh,
I
I'm-
learn how to
I'm
do
s-
it, I won't go back to a graduate.
I'm the same way with my bowl gouge. I've had it kick back at me more times than I care to count.
In all sincerity, before I started turning, I watched probably 2 to 3 weeks of videos on turning and techniques on different people turning and their
Yeah.
techniques before I even started.
Yeah.
And I didn't start out with the bolt gouge because I was scared of it.
I'm
So
with you. Yeah, exactly.
I
Mine's still in the
and
box.
I'm the same way. I just did. I've used it a couple of times when I'm using it on with the chuck, and the chuck has come flying off. I'm the same way. I just. I mean,
Yeah.
I just experiment. I mean, my shop is nothing but a science lab. I mean, I'm working on like birdhouses and candle holders and furniture. When I showed you this thing here is an 1890s armoire I'm working on too. So
Ooh.
I would try and finish that and get that out of here. But that's the only drop. The love-hate relationship with that thing is when you're not doing anything else. I haven't done any dovetailing. I haven't done jigsawing. I haven't done. I got a brand new jigsaw. It's probably got 3 hours on it.
Wow.
I haven't used it in like 10 years because of that.
Aussie man has a good point that everybody needs to understand. It's hard to learn to ride the bevel. And that's what we were talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, the
those
bevel
bowl
is-
gouges have a bevel on them, and it's hard to learn to ride the bevel. Ken Bowerman said, check out the Richard Raffan on YouTube. I got the hiccups for some reason.
Hey,
Excellent
here's
technique
my
for instruction.
There's my cross for you.
yeah,
What's that?
it's
Well,
Oh.
I did a stick challenge. There's my stick cross.
Oh.
Yeah, you did do a stick challenge, didn't you?
Appalachian Heritage Woodshop says Daryl is a great lathe. Daryl started out as an amateur. When I first met him, he was getting into turning, and he has and we're talking about in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
He has went from amateur to professional to teacher. He is now teaching turning stuff at Rockler at their classes. So
Yeah, well, see, that's what my goal is too. Eventually, get that way, but it's
Practice,
just,
practice, practice.
I
yes,
come
that's
down
what you
here
have to.
all the time.
But also, when you say practice, 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 it's
Yeah.
not only practice, practice, practice. I would recommend to you to watch a lot of YouTube videos. That's what I did in the very beginning because I didn't know what the heck a bowl gouge was until I learned what it was on YouTube, and they showed me how to turn it and use it. And so then you can start calling the tools by their names.
I learned about it.
And you know what they actually are because I swear, 2 or 3. Well, the first lathe I had was a really, really, really piece of crap lathe.
Yeah, it was
A friend of mine gave it to me just
right?
to see if I wanted to get into turning, and I used it. And it taught me so much. But when I bought my Nova, I realized that some of the problems I was having wasn't me, it was the lathe. So,
But one thing you definitely, if you're going to use them gouges, you need to learn to sharpen them too.
Yes.
yes.
I can sharpen it, but the problem is, I have to get a jig. Doing it by hand, I do it
Right.
free-handed on the way my fence is sitting on my grinder. It's no.
I feel you on that one. I
Yeah,
kind
the
of had to make my
Appalachian
own.
Heritage Wood Shop says use high-speed steel chisels, and I agree with that.
You know what's funny?
The stuff you buy from Harbor Freight, it's good to start off with and just play around and see if you want to do it, but it's not going to hold the edge. You're going to turn one bowl, and every tool in your arsenal is going to be dull. You're going to have to turn around and sharpen it.
I mean, I got that Harbor Freight set of, was it like 6 or 8 chisels in it, gouges in it. There's only one that I continuously still use. It's the parting tool. Yes, I got to sharpen it constantly, but that one works great. The rest of them I don't care about. They're in the box right now, probably full of rust.
And it's funny you say that. I still use my Harbor Freight parting tool.
Exactly. It's for some reason.
For some reason, it feels natural, but if I use it on one job, I have to turn around and sharpen it.
Yep. But it also keeps straight. I have 2 other parting tools, which always seem to get a bit of a bend in them. The Harbor Freight one will stay actually straight and narrow the whole time.
I like the carbide tip blades. If I could get more of those, that would be.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I would say I have more carbide blades, tip tools in my shop than I do here regular, but they both have their place. Like when I'm going to go in and do, for instance, if I'm going to make the chuck hole on the end of the bowl, I will definitely use my regular tools rather than carbide to make that indention. I'm losing where I'm going, but you have to make it in an indention for your chuck to fit in, and it has to be like as a bevel on the inside. And my carbides won't do that. I have to use regular old tools to do that to get the bowl to.
I'll be able to get it
into
with
that.
The tenon. You want that little bit of a, I don't want to call it a dovetail, but you want that angle.
Well, let me ask you guys this.
I've been able to get that with the.
What's the opposite of the tenon, though? When you're saying a tenon is 6 on the outside, what's the opposite of the tenon?
Mortise.
Mortise. Thank you. Thank you, Donald. Mortise. Yeah. When you're trying to turn the mortise in the bottom of the bowl, I can't do it with carbide. I have to use conventional tools to get that mortise in there for the bottom of for the chuck to fit in.
I do it with a parting tool.
Well, I tried it with a parting tool myself.
Okay,
you're exactly right. I tried it with a parting tool myself.
It
That's
worked.
the difference. I was looking for the difference.
Well, okay. I know we're all talking about tools, but here's the thing. This is what I was talking about earlier. Every time I watch a YouTube, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. This is where I kind of agree and disagree with some of it. because I can't. I get into it and I'm like, okay, that guy's using a different tool than the last guy. I watched 3 or 4 videos in a row. Not one guy used the same tools, doing the same, doing start to finish. Not one guy used the same tools, and
There's
I'm
a-
going, okay,
I
so
think-
which tools?
I think they just make it up as they go along. Like Donald likes to use his parting tool, to do this, and Chris likes to do this.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 ways to do everything,
yeah.
not all of them right or
Right.
wrong.
Exactly.
But this is what I always say. Whatever tool it is, they said if it feels good, use it.
Exactly.
Well, that's not exactly true though, because different tools do different things.
Well, with some
So
respect,
when you say that if it just feels right, use it. You could be using a bowl gouge that should be used as a parting tool, so that doesn't actually work. So
No, but if you can find a way,
this thing here, there's another thing I could use it for.
Oh, back scratcher. Oh, there you go.
There you go. If you can find a way to use a tool and you can successfully do that cut that you want with
when
that
you
tool,
say that,
it's
Jeff,
not
when you
wrong.
say you watch a video and they change tools, it's not
they start out with-
unusual for
that's what I'm saying.
a
The rough
lathe
gouges that
person
I've
to
seen
start
people
off
use
with
are
one
different.
tool and move to another as the bowl was being turned. So
I don't, and I looked this up too. What's the right way and the wrong way, and what does people prefer, and all. And nobody can give me an answer because it was always 15 things. So it's
whatever way keeps you from losing your teeth.
yep, I would say at this point, yeah, whatever you use that works for you, I would use it.
That's what the chat box is saying. too.
Amen, Russ. That's
Yeah,
what
I mean, whatever works for you and however you find to work it, I would use it.
Right.
I do know for a fact I was as dumb as dumb could be when it come to turning. I had a friend, and I can't think of his name, and he watches me on YouTube, and I'm sorry if I can't remember your name. He lived over in St. Petersburg, and we used to chat all the time, and he was giving up his old lathe and wanted to give it to me because he was buying a new one, and he gave it to me, and I brought it home. I had no clue what I was doing. I myself went out and bought a whole kit of Harbor Freight turning tools and started that way. The first thing I did was spent a literal week watching YouTube videos on turning. Just anything I could watch, just how to turn it and whatever to turn it. And I started out, it wasn't a Craftsman lathe, but it was an old lathe, like a Craftsman lathe.
I remember that
We're
old
talking
lathe.
about one that was made back in 1960s lathe.
Oh,
An old
that's a
Craftsman
big
lathe,
one, yeah.
yes. And I got videos of me using it. And I started out with that. And I started out with a Harbor Freight turning tools.
Mm-hmm.
And just playing around. I wanted to see if I could get interested in it or whatever. And I turned a few things and everything, and I actually started liking it. And then as I started watching the videos, I learned real quick the Harbor Freight tools are the worst that you could ever buy.
But
then I started building up my entourage of tools and getting better and better. And then when I started turning, I had problems. My next set of problems was I realized it wasn't me, it wasn't the tools, it was the lathe. And that's when I ended up giving the lathe away to somebody else. And that's when I bought my Nova 1824. And as soon as I started turning on that, I went, OMG. Yes, this is all the difference in the world. You can get the speeds of 3,000 or 4,000 RPMs. I mean, which makes a big difference on turning. Now, you can't round a bowl or a chunk of wood that you're trying to turn into a bowl at 3,000 or 4,000 RPMs. But once it becomes symmetrical, you can turn that bad boy up to 3,000 or 4,000 RPMs. And when you just touch the tool, it takes off a half an inch. So
Oh yeah,
it's,
yeah. See,
so yeah, that's how my little lathe turning thing started. So, but a lot of it has to do with learning each tool, what they are, what they're used for, what they're designed for, and watching videos on how the people use. I did that. Trust me, I watched the bowl gouge. You got a 3/8, a half inch, or whatever. I watched every one of those videos over and over and over again on guys how to use bowl gouges, how to turn them, how to roll them, and everything. So that
I watched you a
was the
lot.
place for me.
I actually watched you. That's how I got your name and was watching your shows on YouTube a lot. And I've been trying to get my own channel on there, but that's another story. But I mean, I watch all you guys when you're doing stuff. It's great. I mean, Gerald Vance, and I forget how I come across.
Gerald Vance is very good. Yes, yes, he is.
And I like, you know, that guy's got, it's a wealth of knowledge. He's helped me out a lot in doing stuff, and he talks to me a lot. So, you know, we go back and forth a few. And
Gerald Vance is very good. I'll tell you another one who to reach out to for help, and he will talk to you, and that's Carl Jacobson.
Yeah, you should have him on. I know he's working on TV shows and stuff now, so. But you should have him
he
on.
still will reach out to you if you send him an email and things. He'll still reach out to you and try to help you. Yes.
Well, I sent him a message, a simple thing. We were talking about bowl gouges. I asked him a simple question, and I got a response back in 6 minutes.
Yes. So Carl Jacobson's very good. That's what you need to do. You need to reach out to these guys. Jeff Hornig, trying to think of his name. He's a real good one too that will reach out to you and help. And he does videos on turning and how to turn and everything. So
you know what? I get really comfortable doing this kind of stuff. I enjoy it. I mean,
it's fun as hell.
I love doing it. The only, like I said, it's a love-hate relationship. The only problem is it takes me away from everything else. But
that's a very nice bowl, and I like the way you fluted it in the middle and everything. Yeah, so that's very nice. Very nice.
That's right, Jeff. I did a bowl, almost the exact same shape.
You know, the lighting is kind of
very nice. Very nice. So, all right, guys, we're rocking down on 9:14. It's getting ready to cut out of here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Aussie, man, always out there. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Appalachian Heritage Wood Shop.
Yes.
Thank Jeff and Russell. Yes, he has a lot of good stuff on his channel too. So watch him. M. Chaz been out there. I'm sorry I haven't been pertaining to the chat as much. Donna's Wood Art has been out there. I just like to break this into this one thing. Donna's Wood Art has been making some towel things for your kitchen, towels for your kitchen. And she's been putting frogs and gators and all kind of stuff on them. Go check out Donna's Wood Art. They are insane. I got to get a hold of her. My wife wants to buy a couple of those from her. They are insane. It's like the things you hang on your wall, but it's a towel, but it has a frog on the top. It's all like crocheted or made of cloth or whatever. Donna, those are awesome. I've been watching you, and they're fantastic. I hope you hear this, and I hope you haven't signed off yet, but I love those things. I even commented, I think, on one of your
Donna does some good work.
Yeah, Donna does very good work. But anyway, so this guy Kilroy keeps on popping up. I think I'm going to have to ban him. I don't know where the heck who this guy is.
Where?
Brooks Martin, thank you for being out there. I appreciate that. Listen, I know we need to sign off. We're past 9 o'clock. We had a very good time tonight. I appreciate Jeff. Thank you for being on here. We had a good time with you.
Thank you guys. Thank you for being out there and letting me on. Anytime,
No problem.
feel free to just bug me. And
Good-
if
good
there's
luck.
more ideas, you see something when I'm doing my videos.
Good luck on your journey, man.
Yep. Good luck on your journey. Yeah, hey, it's a journey for all of us. Trust me. I'm learning a laser. That's
May
a
the
journey
dust
for
mites be
me.
with you guys.
How many
Yeah.
watts?
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Dixon. Thank you, Donald. Thank you, Chris. Listen, if you're too darn busy to get out in your shop and make some sawdust, you're too lazy.
Time out.
You need to get out there and make some sawdust. Come on, get off your butt, get out in the shop.
Stop. Russell, stop. Time out.
Chris
Stop.
didn't get introduced.
Stop.
I don't care about that, but we have not had a workshop confession.
That's right.
Oh,
Confession.
thank you. All right, Jeff, what's the wood shop confession? What did you do that you messed up and screwed up and cut your finger off or blooded your nose or something that give us some?
He's gonna show us. He's gonna show us.
I pulled a drill in my hand.
What happened?
I pulled a drill bit in my finger today. So there you go.
Today.
Oh my God.
You ain't a carpenter unless you get hit, unless you hurt yourself. So there you go.
How did you do it? You got to explain it.
It was kind of stupid.
Yeah, how'd
Me
you
being
manage
trying
that?
to drill something with my hand.
Well, we've all been. I've done some dumb stuff too. So explain it though.
He just did it for
wanted
the
to put a little
show.
nick in something I was working on. It went like that. So
Did you
Yeah.
do it for the show? Did
You just did it for the show, right? You took a drill
Oh
and went,
yeah. I tell my
I'm
favorite
telling you.
story is that I had two pieces of wood in my hand, and they were both 1/2 inch, and I had an 1.5 inch nail in my nail gun, and I shot through them. So a 1/2 inch went into my
Jeff was
palm of
gonna
my
pass
hand.
out.
So
The
I
math
tell that all the time. So yeah,
I did that with my foot. The nail was in the foot.
It happens. All right. So I'll bless you, Jeff, that you will have no more problems in your shop. Bless you,
Oh.
my child.
No, there will be
He
other
says,
problems.
hold on. He's going to go. What is he going to?
Uh-oh.
You were talking fire, rags, dirty rags, and brushes.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. So listen, anyway, if you're too darn busy to get out in your shop and make some sawdust, you're just lazy. I'm not going to say you're too darn busy. You're just lazy because you need to get out in your shop and make some sawdust. Now,
Hey,
I
Russ.
made sawdust, but my sawdust this week was in the act of fumes and carbon that was being burnt off of what I was making, but I still tried to make some sawdust. Anyway, thank you,
But that's
everyone,
not really
for out there
woodworking.
watching. Thank you all that have been out there tonight in the chat. I appreciate you keep asking me if I see you, I look up to watch and where you're at. I think I said thanks Jim and Paul and Al and Dixon and Donald and Chris. But anyway, just give me sawdust, lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching and God
See
bless.
you guys later.
Live long
Thank
and
you, Jeff.
prosper.
God
All
bless.
right, let's move around. Finish your drinks. Remember, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
What he said. What he
No,
said.
can't stay
Last
here. You got to
call.
go.
Last
See
call.
you.
And